thy grandfather's hammer by the sons of Warvan, you shall be avenged.
Too big for his bed, nothing seems to fit.
What do you mean?
Flip the toggle twice?
No, don't do that. Just flip it again, now, one time, flip it.
Roger.
Huh?
Request vector, over. What?
Flight 209er, clear for vector 324.
We have clearance, Clarence.
Roger, Roger. What's our vector, Victor?
That never stops being funny to
Right,
me.
yeah, no,
I think about
so
that
much of it.
all the time. I say it all the time, actually, too.
We keep talking about doing our, comedy best and stuff, but to do that, we lose, we lose the opportunity to do what's current.
Right.
So then we back up. So if we did next week, we did our favorite comedies. Well, then whatever came out next week, we'd have to do 2 weeks later, and it'd become one of those 15 movie episodes where we're going, okay, here's what we saw, bye.
We fight the log jam here rather
Yeah.
frequently, as you
So.
may notice. To not have that happen this time, and
Yes.
to give us tons of time at the end to talk about our personal lives,
Okay.
if we choose to do so, let's jump right in, shall we?
Who are you?
I'm Mark.
And I'm Tom.
And we are
the Cinemaniacs. You know that.
One of these days, that rhythm is going to
Right.
hit.
Jive, so.
Up first, if you'd care to, because I know you're a science kind of guy.
Oh, well, that must be it. It runs in the family among, and lately, since I kind of have a cold, other things are running, but we won't talk about that. Amy Adams and Jeremy Renner and Forrest Whitaker lead our team in trying to decide. It looks like we might have some visitors who have come. We're not quite sure what they want. Are they nice guys or they're bad guys? But lots of things change for them and us upon the arrival. Okay.
Very canny of the trailer cutter to make sure there were explosions in the trailer.
Well, yeah, because there's not a whole lot else action-wise. Not prejudging this.
I'm not even saying
before
that's a
our
bad
discussion,
thing.
but yeah.
I'm just saying, in this country,
Right.
in Hollywood, sci-fi means action movies.
Sure,
it means
right.
explosions,
Lasers
but
and
sci-fi
stuff
means
blowing up and-
things float and there are lasers and explosions, as opposed to regular action movies where things drive on the ground and there are explosions.
Right.
This is science fiction. I'm
Yep.
very happy that in recent years we have returned to smart sci-fi.
Okay, right, yeah.
Thinking it's a oh, I'm sorry. I thought I turned that off. I'm a terrible person. I thought this was a think piece. This is an
Yeah.
art house film. This is an artistic movie. This is not for general audiences, though I'm very curious what a general audience would think of this. Because this is more about ideas and human emotion and human lifespan implications and things like that.
Right.
And at its core, damn it, I'm so sorry. At its core,
You could cut
it is
that out.
about.
They would-
I
they'd
totally.
like-
Okay,
they might
ready?
never know.
It's off now. That's for educational purposes that I have hit this here. It's not my monkey. So this is a film that's mostly about coming to terms with one's past or looking toward one's future and decoding language. Most of this film is somebody trying to decode language. So I think I would just say it's funny that they put an explosion in the trailer because we were saying right before that moment came up off air, this isn't an explosions movie.
Right.
This is a very deliberately paced, which is a very polite way to put it. And
Yes, it is.
it's about thinking and it's very gray and slow. And I thought it was good. I didn't love it for some reason. It reminded me of other movies in a decent way. It reminded me toward the end kind of Signs, and I'm not sure why Signs, other than that was extraterrestrial related. It was almost like a Shyamalan film at the end where you are reassessing what you have seen earlier in the film once
Right.
information has
Right.
been given to you, and you sort of rethink everything you've seen in a different way.
I got to thinking of Contact somewhat. too,
Contact
and-
is one. I saw this. I was out of town for another event, and I saw this at the Alamo Draft House in Yonkers. And what they do there before every film is they have clips and trailers and music videos and things that are all in some way related to the film you're about to watch.
Okay, that's
so
fun.
they ran a trailer for Day the Earth Stood Still.
Okay.
They ran one for Three Stooges in Orbit.
The
which is
original
pretty
one,
funny.
hopefully, with
the
Michael
original,
Rennie?
the good
Thank
one.
goodness.
They ran a trailer for Abbott and Costello Go to Mars, which actually isn't as ridiculous as you would think once you see this movie, and Contact and other things like that.
Right.
So it's interesting that they give you the seeds of here's what has influenced the thing you're about to see. And they did some very interesting things about people perceiving language incorrectly, which was interesting. So who's this movie for? This is for smart people. This is for people with patience. This is for people who like Amy Adams because she is the heart of the film. Amy Adams, Jeremy Renner, and Forrest Whitaker are pretty much most of who you see in this film. There's another actor whose name I can't think of who's been in a bunch of things lately, and he was sort of a bad guy on Boardwalk Empire. That's who I know him from.
Okay.
He's sort of the military government guy that they deal with a lot.
Okay.
So anyway, what is this movie about? It's about 2 hours plus.
Yes.
Amy Adams is a linguist who is tapped by Forrest Whitaker from the government because these large vertical saucers appear all over the world and nobody knows what they're there for. They're trying to communicate with any kind of language these beings may have. And basically it becomes a race against the clock for Adams to find out why they're there before world governments start trying to shoot these things down. It had me throughout. I'll admit I was a little bit sleepy, so not the movie's fault. So my opinion always goes down a little when I'm not completely present for something.
Well, yeah.
I did think it was a little slow. I did think that I figured out the big twist in the movie before the movie told me about it.
Right.
So then it was kind of waiting for the movie to get caught up with that. Very lovely visuals, if a bit gray.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of the visual style of this, which reminds me of like a contact lens commercial where a lot of close-ups and there's always some point that is in focus and everything else is fuzzy.
Right.
I don't really dig that too much, and there was a lot of that in this. But this is from the director of the film Prisoners, the Hugh Jackman film from a few years ago that was quite good, and some other pretty high-quality stuff. So I think he's maintaining his level of quality, if not a breakneck pace.
Right. I think this was a very well-made film. I think everybody associated with it was in top form. This is clearly Amy Adams' film, and I love her, and she's a wonderful actress. The director, I didn't think Jeremy Renner had much to do. He plays a theoretical physicist who is kind of along for the ride. The big question throughout the entire film is, what do these aliens want, and how can we communicate with them? So Adams is brought on as the linguist to try to figure out. They're very visual. The aliens are very visual, and they draw these weird circles and
coffee stains.
Yeah,
They like coffee cup stains?
Right, kind of something like that.
They keep leaving their mug on the screen. What's going on?
And it does get interestingly to talk about communication and how, I mean, film is a very visual medium. And so throughout the world, there are 12 of these things, and everybody's trying to figure it all out. So we obviously stay with Renner, and Forrest Whitaker is the main Army contact. And he's good. I think he's probably more interesting than Renner. Again, I was troubled with the fact that Renner didn't really have a whole lot to do with it. One thing that I thought was interesting, without giving away too much, was they allude to when humans learn a new language. Like recently, I was studying Italian. And so my understanding is that it does rewire the brain. And part of this, as we're trying to relearn or learn the alien's language, it allows you to do something else, and I won't give away too much. And that's integrated throughout the film, and I thought that was pretty interesting. I think you alluded to that I figured out before the movie told me, pretty well before the movie told me what that little trick was. So in the long run, as much as I respected this, and I think I'll be interested in watching this again, knowing how all the pieces of the puzzle fit together, I was just struck with, wow, this is really, really slow, intentionally slow, but boy, it teetered on the verge of boring slow. So I didn't think it reached that. I still thought it was interesting. If you like Renner, if you like Whitaker, if you like Amy Adams, certainly it's worth a watch. So you're right that this is very much a thinker's science fiction film. There's not a lot of stuff blowing up, so don't go expecting that, which I did. I mean, aliens coming to, that's how they played it. I was expecting a big battle or something like that.
I guess I was expecting sort of what it was.
Okay.
Just not quite the Frenchness of it.
Right. So I certainly respected this, and I have to say that I liked it. But you got to work to appreciate it, I think, Arrival.
And boy, what a shame if there's a movie that makes you think once in a while.
Yeah.
That sounded insulting. That wasn't meant to be. I mean, actually, it's actually really good that we have sci-fi movies.
For all of those who
that aren't
voted
just
a particular way, you don't have to go to this. So. I didn't say which way, did I?
Stinger. So speaking of films I didn't see.
Yes.
Up next we have a film. Let me just peer over my shoulder for a moment. Here's a film about a dysfunctional family. It's about time we had a comedy about a dysfunctional family
Isn't it,
in this
though?
country. A dysfunctional family who gets back together for Christmas for the first time in a long time, and they find that it is. Sorry, I should be looking at you. It is almost Christmas.
So,
we have nothing to say about
getting
this.
into the holiday season, I guess, but terrific cast, so I think that looks like fun. Not around here locally, so if you're interested, go find it, I guess.
Once in a while, we present trailers and completely uninformed opinions as a public service to you, the home viewer,
And that's
who
what
may
we're
be
doing.
watching this outside of the area we are in,
Yes.
or who may be watching it inside the area we're in and leave town to see movies, like I do sometimes.
Yes.
So,
as did I, to see the first one.
Exactly.
Because our friends at Keen Cinemas, as much as we love and appreciate them, they got nothing new this week. Not even Arrival. And they also didn't get this one, which is about an Iraqi war veteran, young man who returns to his town and to kudos and accolades, and thank goodness we're all defended by our military vets, which is appropriately the case. But strangely enough, and maybe you haven't heard this before, things aren't always what they seem over in the Middle East. It's not all fun and games, if anybody might think that. And we find that out as Billy Lynn takes a long halftime walk.
The next show will start in 4 minutes.
hi, just talking shop.
And we're back.
So, I didn't see it,
Nor did I.
but my faux American ear.
You did pick
when
that
I
up
saw
from
this
the
trailer
trailer.
the first time, I'm like, that guy's British. That American soldier's British, and I just looked it up in the break, and sure enough.
Particular
So,
pet peeve of his. So
I get nothing against the Britons. Most of the TV I
Well,
watch
yeah,
is
I mean,
British.
it's just-
I can hear a fake British American accent, and what they do to achieve that accent usually just bugs the hell out of me. And I'm always like, so of all the actors in this country, there wasn't an American
can't
who
find
played an
one,
American
right.
soldier. That's really
Right.
kind of strange. And on the converse, like we were saying with Benedict Cumberbatch as Doctor Strange,
right.
he couldn't have had a British accent
Yeah,
as Doctor Strange.
I could have accepted
There's
that.
no British people who live in this country.
Might add.
Who talk that way.
Right.
Which is weird. So that's all that's not
new.
playing locally this week.
Right.
We still thank our friends at Keen Cinemas because everything we
Always.
talked about last week is still there. And I don't know what is probably the short time movie there. Probably Storks, I'm guessing, will get
Yeah.
bumped for the next big release.
So if you really got to see Storks in the theater, which we encourage you to do.
Well, I didn't see it, so maybe I'll go see Storks. Wink. Coming up next is that which you can view on home video for your dancing pleasure between four walls or the open air location of your choice. And first up is... I'll be right back. Okay. Oh, wow. First up is a film that is guaranteed fun for the whole Manson family. Seth Rogen and the usual gang of idiots are back at an animated raunch fest entitled Sausage Party.
Dick Tracy here, closing in on Muskie and those eggs.
Well, anymore, I
Yes.
can't remember why initially I gave Seth Rogen a chance. I can't remember I should hit IMDb or something like that and see, because I know there were some movies that I thought were okay. So I'm going to have to check those out. But boy, anymore, if he is involved in it and all of his idiot friends just get together and just make a movie. And clearly, they didn't do this. I forget what the one about the end of the world. I think it was called
This Is the End.
This Is the End.
That was my most
It
hated
just felt
movie
like,
of it.
they got together for a weekend and shot stupid stuff. I mean, this is animated, and the animation is great, but just insipid, insulting sex jokes throughout, just from beginning to end. And it's just, can't you do anything more mature? I thought Sausage Party was a complete waste of time, and you'll see it at the top. Fortunately, the past couple years, we've moved away from best movie and worst movies, and for me, I at least do my top 5 personal favorites or surprising ones, and top 5 most disappointing. And while I can't say that I expected much from this is probably going to be at the top of my list of just what a piece of dreck.
If we sent out certificates for the films or filmmakers who appeared on those lists of ours, he'd have a shiny wall.
He has his own.
He'd have to turn away from all the reflection of the glass, the light off the glass of all of those. I didn't see it due to circumstances mostly beyond my control when it was in theaters, and I just have not had a chance to catch up with it on video because life's too short.
Well, as I said off air, before you folks all got here, you should be strapped in the Clockwork Orange chair with one of those
with the
things
eye drops
and be forced to watch it because I've seen it twice.
I'm sorry. Well, once in a while I willingly take a hit on something that I warn you away from, one of which might be sitting in the lobby right now waiting for you to take home.
Right. That's possible.
Up next, we have a film set in the past about a man dealing with differences in culture and location. And we come to terms, and he comes to terms, and acceptance, or there not of, with his indignation.
Launching car. The astronaut is moved to the capsule hatch by the new Lionel Cherry Picker car.
Looks kind of interesting. Didn't see it.
Nope, neither.
Sorry.
That's, again, us giving you a public service.
Yep, it's out there. Another thing that's out there that we didn't see, just in case you're
we will get to movies we've watched, by the way.
Yes.
Okay.
We'll end with we'll end on a big push.
Okay.
Of things we've actually watched, or at least one of us, between the two of us, we've watched it.
We at least looked at the cover.
But still coming up, the romantic and philanthropic and adventurous misadventures of a 13-year-old American living in Germany because he is Morris from America.
$14.98. Remember, every boy wants a Remco toy, and so do girls.
So again, public service to let you know that's out there. I think that looks pretty amusing. But well shot and everything like that. Looks like performances are good. So when that becomes available, I guess it's available now, I might hop online and watch that. But I haven't seen it yet. Sorry.
Okay, enough of this hogwash of us not having seen anything. Now the movies we've seen.
There we go.
We're kind of lulling you into a false sense of these guys what are they on TV for? They haven't seen anything. You can still ask why we're on TV, and people often do, including ourselves. So here's a film that is out now via Well Go USA, who does some wonderful things. Might not be Well Go USA. Let me take that back. I don't remember who put this out. At any rate, here is a film that is out now on DVD, maybe Blu-ray as well. And we have a tale of martial artistry and intrigue in old China featuring Michelle Yeoh, who's great, in a film somewhat co-directed by John Woo. It tells the tale of a female killer-type person who goes undercover, has facial reconstructive surgery, and tries to lay low, but the past keeps pulling her back in the reign of assassins.
Looking people in the whole world. Potato Head people look different every time you make them.
So,
yes.
Box cover for this says co-directed by John Woo. With a little bit of research, I found that basically John Woo was on the set consulting throughout the shoot. So I would take with a grain of salt the fact that his name is on that if you're expecting anything of the level of what he's known for.
Right.
It is also funny that the back of the box cover refers to this as Face Off meets Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Because in a way, I explained the plot to you and you said that sounds like Face Off.
Right.
Where Michelle Yeoh is part of this group of people who is trying to safeguard or protect or claim the remains of this ancient martial artist to it's a body basically that's supposed to give you powers or abilities or whatever. Okay. So it's a lot of MacGuffin-y, where's the football, where's the hot potato kind of thing. So she does a lot of things, kills a lot of people, and then gets surgery to look like an older, different person. So she emerges she goes from a young woman to Michelle Yeoh,
right.
Who's great and I'm a huge fan of, and it's great to see her in a film. And the woman does not age, and she still has the ability she's always had since the 90s, and that's pretty amazing. So basically you get somebody trying to lay low while all these other people are looking for her and all this intrigue is going on. The Fu is really good. It's a wuxia film, and for Americans, if you think Crouching Tiger, where it's wire work and it's fantastical and all kinds of crazy gravity and logic-defying moves and things like that. It's pretty well shot. It's not shot as perfectly and clearly as I would have liked it to have been, but it didn't make me angry like most action in films does now, including Doctor Strange. So I would say if you like the Fu films, if you like the martial arts fantasy films, this is a fun one. It's not, to me, wildly memorable. A lot of these kind of blur together for me, and I actually had a hard time thinking about this in the next movie we're going to talk to, and cleaving and separating, lifting and separating them in my mind as to which was which. But it was fun. I liked it, and I liked the people in it. It's very cleanly presented and executed. At the beginning, there's a lot of exposition and a lot of text and flashes of scenes of people doing things, and I was really confused for a while. It felt to me like I looked this on the IMDb. It said the running time is 1 hour 57 minutes, if that's accurate. Box cover says 107. I'm sorry, 107.
Right.
So I'm wondering if 10 minutes was cut out to try to speed it up, and that's where a lot of that flashbacky stuff comes in. But as a rental, I would say it's a good time if you like this sort of thing. I don't know that I would say anybody should blind buy this, but I had a good time with Reign of Assassins.
Terrific.
Now, would you like to introduce the next, or shall I?
You likely should.
Okay, so back to me. No, that's fine. I was talking. Hi, how are you? You been well? You look tired. Up next, we have yet another martial arts film, and this time we have Donnie Yen as a very great and powerful general in old-time China who is on the run, protecting a woman from bad guys, and weaving his mighty sword is in because for two that he is known as, catch up, the Lost Bladesman.
Coffee with my steaks.
Oh, Mrs. Olson, he's always crabbing about my coffee. I could cry.
Now that wasn't Arrival, was it? So
No, not at all. Oh, he arrived all right, and to prove it, he was here.
Wow, a lot going on.
Yeah, so the action-packed trailer does not oversell what goes on in this movie. This is some kung fu badassery right here. It's Donnie Yen, with a bearded Donnie Yen being very stoic for the whole film, and he's this guy who's very good with this giant blade that's on the end of a long pole, and it's very well shot. It's very well executed. This also sort of fits into the wuxia category to a degree, where you have feats of strength and kind of impractical things going on with some physicality and some things people do, but you have epic battle scenes, as the trailer says, where the large formations of guys, are put their shields up to make a human wall, and he just lays waste. Not even death. He just eradicates these people, and you're just like, wow, he scattered those guys like so many leaves on a fall day. I really had a good time with this. Donnie Yen is sort of like one of the top Chinese actor martial arts guys. He's in Ip Man films. He's going to be in Rogue One, actually. Born in Boston, raised in Boston, so it's kind of funny that relatively local guy is one of the biggest stars in China right now. I would say The Lost Bladesman is a good time. If you like Fu films, I mean, if you don't like this sort of thing, none of these are going to appeal to you.
Right.
It's subtitled as they all are, but who cares? Hopefully you can read, and it's the action is what you're there for. I would be disappointed if it was sold as a martial arts film and it was all talking. Like some people might be with Arrival, actually. Some people might think, oh, hey, things blow up in space. And it's like, well, it's a lot of linguistics. So The Lost Bladesman is also out now on DVD, and I quite enjoyed it.
Terrific.
Speaking of English language films.
Yes, there have been a couple of them, actually. And a young woman who has some family issues. She took off. You got to take care of yourself, right? She took off to just kind of keep her head together. But mom and her brother are still having some issues with some very strange paranormal, maybe, things going on back at the home. So she goes back to try to help out her brother. And you want to make sure when you're looking around there that you want to be absolutely positive that you don't have the lights out.
More effective relief of those ugly cold symptoms in so many ways.
So, kind of to be expected, stuff jumping out at you. I was struck, and I didn't rewatch this on video, but I think we both saw it in the theaters, as I recall. Shot nicely. What I was left with was that performances were really solid. You've got the girl and her boyfriend who comes to help, and the two of them are really, really good. But is there anything new? No, for those of us who either have seen lots of movies or in particular horror movies, there's not a whole lot new going on here. Maybe if you haven't, you might be a little bit more entertained. Maria Bello is kind of wasted. But the two leads I thought were really, really solid. I guess our female lead has been in some other things that we liked a lot. So if you got, and this is a backhanded kind of compliment, I guess, if you got nothing else to do, it's worthwhile. I wouldn't recommend you run out and grab it, but performances are pretty solid, it looks good, and it's got some decent scares, I guess.
I would say this is the cinematic equivalent of a defibrillator, or if you really want to stay awake while you're doing something, have this movie on and turn the volume up, because every so many minutes regularly there's a I hate movies like that.
Right.
I didn't really like this because it was an interesting concept. Apparently, it was originally a short film, and this was expanded to feature length.
Okay.
And the conceit is that when the lights are off, there's this shadowy figure, and when you turn the lights back on, it's gone. And every
Right.
time you turn the lights off, it's closer to you, which is really similar to a thing called. I want to say it was called Mirror Mirror. It might not have been. It was an Amazing Stories episode where every time Sam Waterston is a horror film director, looks in a reflective surface, he sees this creepy guy closer to him, and he tries not to look in the reflection, but every time he catches a reflection, the guy's closer. So all this movie was for me was a loud noise and a jump scare, and it was that repeated for 90 minutes over. It was the same exact scare for 90 minutes over and over and over again. And when I saw it in the theater, there were a bunch of punk kids yapping and giggling through the whole thing, which made me mad.
That's always good, yeah.
So that films are ruined for me for the rest of my life because of a bad initial experience like that. So I guess I carry a little of that with me. But even if those morons weren't,
right,
who I said coarse language to, despite that maybe they were fairly younger than I thought they were after the words got out of my mouth. I really wouldn't have liked this anyway because it's just I hate jump scares. They're the cheapest way to try to make a movie. It had good atmosphere, like it was well constructed, but then it took the laziest route to get a scare, which is really a physical reaction. So, and yes, Teresa Palmer is the star of this, who we saw as the female lead in Hacksaw Ridge most recently. Horror fans, horror comedy fans might remember her from Warm Bodies, the zombie take on Romeo and Juliet. So I guess you'd say, are we split on Lights Out?
It sounds kind of like it, yeah.
A thumb sideways.
I'm not
and
a big, strong thumbs up, but I think I clearly liked it a little bit more than you did.
It's a and a
Right.
So the final film we have for which to discuss.
Yes.
I'm gonna take a shot at it.
Okay.
I'm taking a shot.
Go to it.
Taking it to the limit. I'm going the distance on this one. So Viggo Mortensen stars as a non-traditional father who takes he takes himself a little time to go a different way with how he raises his children. They may or may not view him in terms of being called Captain Fantastic.
More raisins, nuts, more raisins, more raisins.
So this played at the Colonial locally when it was new. I didn't get a chance to see it, though. I had heard nothing but good things about it. And I still have yet to look at it, so I will bow to your opinion.
Again, this is clearly Mortensen's film. He's strong enough to, he's been the lead while he was in The Road. Strangely, kind of, in some ways, a similar topic. But this is quite clearly his film. He helms it, and it's all about how he interacts with his kids, how he interacts with the rest of society, because this is about a family and a man who essentially takes his family and himself out of society. And, you know, it makes you think about, you commented off air, if you're that stringent, if you're that strict, are you just asking for rebellion from your kids? And there's a wide variety of age ranges, and so you do kind of see that. The young ones who just think Dad is Captain Fantastic. The older ones who immediately say, if Dad says white, then they'll say black, that kind of thing. So it's an interesting mixture. Frank Langella, whom we saw in there, provides an interesting kind of counterpart as sort of the voice of normal society. And this is really kind of a character piece following that. But it's a comment on society. I thought Captain Fantastic was overall pretty interesting, and Mortensen is certainly strong enough to hold it.
Do they weave the Elton John song or album into this at all?
No, yeah, that's what actually, because we were supposed to have this on last week.
We ran out of time.
We were going to close with Elton John's version of it, but no, not a whole lot. That's not running throughout the entire thing.
Okay,
I'm trying to remember if it's even in there. You'd think it would have to be, but
maybe they wanted to. They couldn't get the rights.
Right? Yeah, exactly. That'll be like double their budget.
Probably.
I'm not sure.
So that's all that's playing. Well, that's not all that's playing.
Oh yeah, there's a lot
that's
more. That's
all that's local and all that we somewhat looked at this weekend. We have 12 minutes. If there's any kind of additional Tales of Chicago,
it's amazing,
or baseball that you'd like to talk
about.
No,
we don't have like that. Wait till next year. But no, what else? You've been mentioning that you're catching up. I've been trying to catch up on stuff. Saw Kiefer Sutherland's new TV show, Designated Survivor. It picks up if you're a big fan of Sutherland's. The first episode is kind of lame, but it picks up fairly well. And then Black Mirror is back.
I really want to see that. All the ones have been really good.
Yeah, big fan of, originally on the BBC, but now
Netflix, I believe.
I think Netflix is doing it, yeah, but so that's available, 6 or 8 new episodes on that. Traditionally dark. I was struck with the first 3 or 4 of them always being about cell phones for some reason, and maybe that's my selective perception because that drives me nuts. How people, as a society, we don't interact anymore. It's everybody's on the cell phone, so I kind of make an intentional.
I saw a photo a friend took at a concert recently of some small club show, and he was toward the back. Okay, he was taking a picture with his phone of the stage. All you could see were phone screens.
Right.
And it's like, wow.
Yeah.
How about you just enjoy the show?
Well, yeah, that's the thing, is if you're taking pictures and stuff, you're not watching this, so I don't get it. But so for some strange reason, that struck me. But yeah, so that's available. Coming up soon, I guess a new 24 is coming out, and of course Sherlock coming out.
I'm still behind on that. I'm behind on
Oh
everything.
my. Gotta watch Sherlock.
I spent my last weekend for 6 months at the Mahoning Drive-In Theater, my hone away from home, as I call it. And it was like a little staff party for everybody, celebrate a very successful season. And we watched 2 very rare prints of 2 very odd films, which was great. And so now I'm around on the weekends again. If people need shoveling or lawns mowing or anything like that, and I'm going to try to catch up on all the movies I've been buying nonstop all year, and I've just never been around to watch. The Criterion sale is going on Barnes & Noble right now, where it's half off everything. Not that I'm shilling, but hey, why pay full price for a Criterion disc? You never have to. And Black Friday is coming up in a week or so, which is when I traditionally buy my height in discs. So we'll see. I may have more to talk about at the end of the show if we run short with more foolishness. But I guess, should we?
I guess we should.
Until next time, I'm Mark.
And I'm Tom.
And we are
the Cinemaniacs.